Hello and welcome to this English learning lecture. Have you ever had days when nothing feels exciting, your mood is low, and everything around you seems a little heavy or dull? Today we are going to explore a very common English expression that perfectly describes that feeling. The expression is down in the dumps. This is a very natural and widely used phrase in spoken English, especially in emotional conversations, storytelling, and everyday communication. Understanding this phrase will not only improve your vocabulary but will also help you sound more like a native English speaker when you talk about feelings and emotions. Let us begin by understanding what this expression actually means. Down in the dumps is an idiomatic expression. It is used to describe a state of sadness, low mood, disappointment, or emotional weakness. When someone says they are down in the dumps, it means they are feeling unhappy, discouraged, or mentally low. This is not a medical condition, but a casual and expressive way of talking about emotions. Now let us carefully understand the phrase word by word so you can fully grasp its meaning and usage in English conversation. The first word is down. In English, the word down has many meanings depending on context. It can refer to direction, position, or even emotional state. In this expression, down represents low energy or low mood. When we say someone feels down, we usually mean they're sad or not emotionally strong at that moment. For example, if a student fails an exam, they may feel down because of disappointment. If someone loses something important, they may feel down because of emotional pain. So in this phrase, down is directly connected with sadness and emotional low state. Let us understand this clearly through usage examples of the word down in emotional context. First example: I felt down after hearing the bad news about my friend. Second example: she looks down today because she did not get the job. Third example: he gets down whenever he remembers his past mistakes. Fourth example: they were feeling down after losing the match. Fifth example: I try to stay positive even when I feel down. These examples show how the word down is commonly used to describe sadness or emotional weakness in everyday English. Now let us move to the second important part of the phrase, which is dumps. The word dumps in this expression does not refer to garbage places in a literal sense, but it carries a figurative meaning. In older English usage, dumps was sometimes used to describe a gloomy or depressing place or state of mind. When combined with down, it strengthens the idea of sadness or emotional heaviness. So when we say someone is in the dumps, it means they are in a mentally low and unhappy state. The word dumps gives a stronger emotional picture. It feels like a place where someone is sitting quietly, feeling sad, without motivation or energy. Now let us understand the word dumps with usage examples. First example: after losing his job, he stayed in the dumps for many days. Second example: she has been in the dumps since her breakup. Third example: they were in the dumps after hearing the disappointing results. Fourth example: I do not want to see you in the dumps, cheer up and smile. Fifth example: he always goes into the dumps when things do not go his way. These examples clearly show how dumps is used to describe emotional sadness or a depressed state. Now when we combine both parts together, down in the dumps becomes a complete expression that strongly describes emotional sadness. It is more expressive than simply saying sad. English speakers often prefer idiomatic expressions like this because they sound more natural and emotional. Let us now deeply understand how this phrase is used in real-life conversations. Imagine a situation where a friend has failed an important interview. Instead of saying he is sad, a native speaker might say he is down in the dumps after the interview rejection. This sounds more natural, more expressive, and more conversational. Another situation could be a student who did not perform well in exams. A teacher might say, "I know you are down in the dumps right now, but do not lose hope." Here the phrase shows empathy and emotional understanding. In daily life, people use this expression when talking about breakups, failures, losses, disappointments, or any situation where someone feels emotionally low. It is a very flexible phrase and can be used in both formal and informal conversations, although it is more common in informal speech. Now let us explore more usage examples of the full phrase down in the dumps to strengthen your understanding. First example: I have been down in the dumps since I lost my wallet. Second example: she felt down in the dumps after her best friend moved to another city. Third example: he is down in the dumps because his business is not doing well. Fourth example: they were down in the dumps after the project was rejected. Fifth example: I try not to stay down in the dumps for too long because life must go on. Notice how in each example, the phrase describes a temporary emotional state. This is very important. Down in the dumps is not permanent. It refers to a temporary feeling of sadness that can change with time, motivation, or positive events. Now let us understand why learning such expressions is important for English fluency. Many English learners know basic words like sad, unhappy, or upset. But native speakers often use idioms and phrases to express emotions more naturally. If you use expressions like down in the dumps, your speech becomes more fluent, more natural, and more expressive. Another important point is tone. Down in the dumps is not a very formal expression. It is friendly, conversational, and slightly emotional. You will hear it in movies, dramas, casual talks, and storytelling. It is not typically used in official reports or academic writing. Now let us practice understanding the emotional depth of this phrase. Imagine two sentences. First, I am sad today. Second, I am down in the dumps today. The second sentence gives a deeper emotional picture. It shows not only sadness but also a sense of heaviness, lack of motivation, and emotional tiredness. This is why idiomatic expressions are powerful in English. Let us now go deeper into practical speaking situations where you can use this phrase naturally. If your friend is feeling sad, you can say, "You look down in the dumps today, what happened?" If someone has failed in something important, you can say, "Do not stay down in the dumps, try again next time." If you are talking about yourself in a diary or personal speech, you can say, "I was down in the dumps after the result, but I decided to work harder." If you are giving advice, you can say, "Everyone feels down in the dumps sometimes, but we must keep moving forward." If you are comforting someone, you can say, "I know you are down in the dumps, but things will get better soon." These conversational uses make the phrase very practical and useful in real life. Now let us reflect on emotional intelligence in language. English is not just about grammar and vocabulary. It is also about expressing feelings correctly. Phrases like down in the dumps help you communicate emotions in a more human and relatable way. When you use such expressions, people understand not only your words but also your feelings. Another important aspect is memorization. Instead of learning this phrase as separate words, always remember it as a complete expression. Down in the dumps should be stored in your mind as one emotional unit. This will help you use it automatically in conversation without thinking too much. Now let us expand your learning with some more natural sentences to strengthen your fluency. I was down in the dumps all morning but felt better after talking to my friend. She always supports me when I am down in the dumps. He listens to music when he is down in the dumps. They try to stay active even when they're down in the dumps. I do not like being down in the dumps for long periods of time. By practicing such sentences, you will develop confidence in using this phrase in real conversations. Let us also understand a common mistake learners make. Many learners translate directly from the native language and simply say, I am sad. While this is correct, it is very basic. Native speakers often prefer emotional expressions like down in the dumps to sound more natural. So upgrading your vocabulary from simple words to idiomatic expressions is a key step in fluency development. Now, as we reach the end of this lecture, let us quickly summarize what we have learned. We explored the meaning of the expression down in the dumps. We understood that down refers to emotional low state and dumps refers to a gloomy mental condition. Together, they form a phrase that describes sadness, disappointment, or emotional weakness. We also learned multiple examples for both parts and the complete phrase. We discussed real-life usage, conversational examples, and emotional importance. Remember, language is not just about communication, it is about connection. When you use phrases like down in the dumps, you connect with people on a deeper emotional level. So next time you feel low or you see someone feeling sad, try using this phrase in your conversation. It will make your English sound more natural and expressive. Thank you for listening to this lecture. And now here is a final question for you to think about. Can you describe a time in your life when you felt down in the dumps and how you overcame it?